Immanuel Quickley is drawing major interest from the Phoenix Suns. With Phoenix looking to waive Chris Paul at the end of the season, it leaves a gap at the point guard position to be filled. And a lot of sources around the league are tying Immanuel Quickley to the Phoenix Suns to fill that point guard hole. The Knicks are also looking to prioritize three-point shooting this offseason, and they have one name in mind to help them get better with shooting this offseason. Woj also gives us an update on CP3 to the Knicks. All this and more today. Let's get started. Immanuel Quickley is drawing major interest from the Phoenix Suns. According to Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports, numerous players have been linked to the Phoenix Suns amid reports that guard Chris Paul's time with the team may be ending shortly. Now, this is not a surprise, as recently we broke the news that Chris Paul was likely going to be waived by Phoenix at the end of this season. Now, there are a number of reasons for this. Age has something to do with it, but again, Chris Paul has had one of his worst seasons as a starter under Phoenix this year. So it does make a lot of sense to why Phoenix would look to waive Chris Paul at the end of the season. And when you're looking to upgrade the point guard position for Phoenix, you want to get younger, you want to go with a guard that you believe in, and you want to go with a guard that you believe has a ceiling. Immanuel Quickley, Immanuel Quickley, Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley checks all of the boxes for the Phoenix Suns and gets them that guard that they can believe in and move forward with in the future. And again, I'm sure a lot of Knicks fans and Suns fans would agree that Immanuel Quickley would help upgrade the point guard position for the Phoenix Suns with potential, and also give the Phoenix Suns somebody they can invest in for years to come. So I think it does make sense that Phoenix is interested in Immanuel Quickley. Jake Fisher also noted that Phoenix does hold Knicks Sixth Man of the Year finalist Immanuel Quickley in high regard. This is dating back to Quickley's entry in the 2020 NBA Draft. So as you can clearly see here, Phoenix's ties to Immanuel Quickley have not been a recent thing. They've loved Immanuel Quickley since 2020. So for them, Immanuel Quickley is one of the top guards they're looking at. So based on the recent reports that we've been seeing, it's clear that the Phoenix Suns have interest in Immanuel Quickley. It's clear that they value him and have valued him. And it's clear that they want to grow into the future with him. So he's one of the names to watch. Peyton Pritchard is another name to watch, as Jake Fisher also noted him as somebody that Phoenix was looking to target and to add. So Immanuel Quickley, Peyton Pritchard, and a few other guards have been linked to the Phoenix Suns, according to Yahoo Sports. And this makes sense because if you're looking to get rid of one of your all-star guards in Chris Paul, you're going to need to replace Chris Paul with somebody you believe in, somebody you trust, and somebody you're going to grow with. And that's why a couple of these guards have been linked to Phoenix, because if you're going to let go of Chris Paul, you're going to need some type of production at the point guard position for Phoenix in order for them to contend for the title they're looking to do. So clearly Phoenix is looking to make key additions this offseason to get better. They've already addressed the head coaching situation by adding Frank Vogel and adding David Fizdale as assistant coach. And now they're looking to upgrade the point guard position with somebody who's not CP3. It doesn't mean that CP3 won't return in some capacity to the Phoenix Suns. That's still out in the open there. But it's much more likely that Chris Paul is waived and he gets picked up by another team in free agency, and that the Phoenix Suns go looking to upgrade their point guard position with one of these young guards that was mentioned. And I think Immanuel Quickley is absolutely one name to watch. Will the Knicks do it? I'm not sure about that, because the Knicks would need something in return from the Phoenix Suns in order to make that trade make sense. Now, if the Knicks are looking to get a little bit older at the point guard position off the bench and go with more veteran presence, then the trade to the Phoenix Suns might make sense, because you could replace that veteran presence that you need with Chris Paul there, and then Phoenix gets to upgrade their point guard position. So that is a scenario. But it's also very, very plausible that the Knicks do nothing with Phoenix, keep Immanuel Quickley, and keep CP3 wherever he's going to go, whether that stays with Phoenix or he goes to another team like the Lakers or the Clippers. While I think the Knicks are always going to be part of the CP3 sweepstakes just due to who our president is and Leon Rose, I also think that the Knicks are not going to go jumping at the opportunity to sign Chris Paul, because it's not an immediate need for the Knicks right now. So the Knicks might call about Paul, they might call about some other assets that the Suns have, but I don't see them pulling the trigger on an Immanuel Quickley trade unless they don't want to pay him and believe his ceiling is exactly where it is and it won't go higher. And of course, you have to take the playoffs in consideration. He was great for the regular season, one of the 6 Man of the Year finalists, went to the playoffs, and collapsed. No-showed. So the Knicks have to think about that. Phoenix has to think about that. And we don't know what the final decision is going to be. But if I had to put my money on it, Immanuel Quickley likely remains a New York Knick for at least one more season. The Knicks could add Seth Curry this offseason. With the Knicks looking to prioritize shooting this offseason, given the playoffs that we had where nobody could buy a bucket and certainly nobody could buy a three-point shot, the Knicks saw this and are looking to upgrade three-point shooting this offseason to address those needs. According to Grant Hughes of Bleacher Report, Seth Curry's name is one to watch for the New York Knicks. While Grant Hughes was discussing the Knicks, he said the following about Seth Curry and the New York Knicks. Options abound, and the Knicks should have their full mid-level exception to offer. The Brooklyn Nets free agent Seth Curry and his career 40.5% mark from three, which ranks 5th among players with at least 1,500 attempts, would be a logical cross-borough signing. Seth Curry shooting 40.5% was absolutely missed for the New York Knicks in the playoffs. Seth Curry, like his brother Steph, is known for very, very good three-point shooting. Now, he's not as elite or as efficient as his brother Steph is, because if he was, we wouldn't be talking about signing him in free agency. Let's get that right. He would already be locked up in trades or rumors or other type of stories like that. But that's not the case with Seth right now. Seth absolutely gives you a scoring punch off the bench. He gives you that shooting that you need, that the Knicks needed in the playoffs. And not only that, his averages for the season aren't bad either. If you take a look at what he did with Brooklyn this year, and this isn't a limited role, Seth Curry averaged 9.2 points, 1.6 rebounds, and 1.6 assists in 61 games played this season. Now, he dealt with a couple of ankle injuries and some other nagging injuries throughout the season, so I anticipate the 61 games to jump up to at least 70 games available for next season. The averages that I just told you were part of a Brooklyn Nets team that had star power in the beginning of the season and then dropped off the face of the map because they traded all their star power for certain players like Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and some other notable names. So obviously Seth Curry didn't do exactly what a lot of people thought he was going to do after the trade happened. They thought he was going to be more involved in the offense, but that really wasn't the case. But really, that's not to blame for anybody else besides Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges was so good. Cam Johnson as well, so good, especially from three. You needed to play those two. Seth Curry, for all the shooting gifts he gives you, is still undersized. So if you add Seth Curry to a backcourt with Immanuel Quickley, that backcourt is immediately undersized still. Curry does not give you the size you need at point guard. He certainly doesn't give you that defensive lockdown ability that a Grimes or Immanuel Quickley can give you. But what Seth Curry offers and gives you is three-point shooting. 40.5% from three is what Seth Curry gives you. The New York Knicks need all of that and so much more. We struggled so mightily from three and also struggled just shooting the ball in general that the number one priority for the New York Knicks this offseason is to ensure they get shooters that are consistent and can knock down threes and can knock down mid-ranges. Because if the Knicks get that, they put themselves on another level in terms of what they can do next year. Because the biggest knock against the Knicks in the postseason was their ability to create and make shots. If you add Seth Curry to the New York Knicks, you've solved three-point shooting woes because he gives you that. He's another shot creator, and you can plug him in with Brunson or Immanuel Quickley in the backcourt and instantly give the Knicks a three-point threat that other teams have to guard and be honest with. So if the Knicks are looking to add shooting this offseason, I raise my hand fully up in support for Seth Curry. I hope the Knicks go get him because what he does best is shooting, and that's exactly what the New York Knicks need this offseason. Our resident NBA insider, Adrian Rosanowski, gave us an update on CP3 to the Knicks. Woj stated that Golden State and the New York Knicks are among potential destinations if Chris Paul becomes available as a free agent. Woj also gave the following update. If Chris Paul is out there as a free agent this summer, look at the two teams in LA, the Clippers and the Lakers, the Knicks in New York, or Golden State Warriors. Those would all be potential destinations for Chris Paul, who would then sign a deal at a much lower number than the $30 million he's guaranteed in Phoenix if he stays there past the June 28th deadline. That's a really good update from Woj, but it's not really anything new that we haven't heard before. We always knew that the Lakers and the Clippers were going to top the list as destinations for CP3. We knew because of the relationship CP3 has with Leon Rose that the Knicks were going to be added to that list, and clearly that they were. The one team added to that list that I didn't even consider, though, was Golden State. Golden State with Chris Paul on the bench would be lethal. Could you imagine having Steph and Clay start and then having Poole and Paul come off the bench? And Poole, with his antics and things like that, would absolutely benefit from CP3 going to that team because he would make that team serious, he'd give them leadership, and he would give them somebody with a ton of playoff experience, somebody that the team has to listen to and especially respect. And I think CP3's addition would help Golden State take that next step and also help their guards, especially Jordan Poole, take that next step into greatness. I think it makes sense all around for the Warriors to add CP3. But will they? Only time will tell. So obviously the New York Knicks and CP3 are linked and tied together. Woj just confirmed that, but we already knew that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if Phoenix does waive Chris Paul and make him available in free agency this offseason, because I think that even if that happens, even if the Knicks are not going to add CP3, I think as a courtesy, Leon Rose would call and ask about CP3. Whether he's added or not, I don't know. But I can say this. If the New York Knicks are looking to upgrade, if you want to call it an upgrade, with veteran presence off the bench at the guard spot, there is no better veteran you can switch into this lineup than CP3. So if you're going to do that, and the Knicks are already committed to that, it's likely you'll see CP3 added to the Knicks bench, coming off the bench for them, and Immanuel Quickley going out west for Phoenix. If the New York Knicks decide to do this, that is one of the scenarios that could happen. So get your popcorn ready, sit on the couch, get in a blanket, and watch the fireworks, because this offseason is going to be epic. Mark my words on that. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, peace.